Hey everybody, I am here today with my friend Matt, and we are going to talk about his experience living in Japan, so both Tokyo and Sapporo. So Matt, can you tell us a little bit about when you came to Japan and why?
It was a long time ago, so I have to remember. I probably came here a little over 15 years ago, and I was just a backpacker. I had come to Tokyo for 5 nights, then wanted to come back here to teach English. I found a job on some Teach English website and ended up in Saitama teaching at a children's school. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to extend my travels and experience the world at that point.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different kinds of English teachers. You know, some people teach adults, some people teach children, some people teach in school, some people teach businesses. Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of English you teach and what your experience has been like?
Okay. I started teaching at Japanese junior high schools and elementary schools just as a human cassette recorder, and then I moved on to teaching at Japanese kindergartners with like even below 1-year-olds, teaching them English. Then I went back to school to become an international teacher. So whenever I explain I'm an international teacher here, people still think I'm an English teacher, but lately, for the past 8 years, I've had my own classroom of kids, 1st grade and 2nd grade, so it's a homeroom class just like we went to school. You have your teacher that teaches you English, math, social studies. Yeah.
So how has it been, like, your transition from just teaching English to teaching a variety of things in an international school?
It's kind of a transition from being in a Japanese setting where you take off your shoes to go into the school and a cup of green tea and senbei are waiting for you on your teacher's desk, to working in a bubble where everyone in your working environment speaks English except for maybe some maintenance staff and cleaning ladies, where you really could be anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. in an international school setting, and all the parents are English speaking, and I really never used Japanese at all in my life living in Tokyo and being in an international school, because you're really in a bubble.
Right. So I want to know, I think that there's some people who come to Japan and they start teaching English and then they realize they want to do something different, but they're not sure what to do. Did you ever have that kind of moment? Yeah, so is that what made you go into international schools?
Well, now I'm thinking about looking for something outside of teaching. I still feel part of me is a teacher, but I feel like there's lots of other occupations to explore. But unless you have a certain set of skills, it can be pretty difficult to get work as a native English speaker outside of teaching English.
Right. Unless
you have the tech background or specialized skills that would make you highly desirable to companies, even if you don't have the Japanese background. I know people who do it, and I know it's possible, but I think you're really gonna have to be creative to find something outside of English and maybe headhunting or modeling.
Right. Modeling's a big one.
But if you don't have the face, get used to teaching English.
Oh my goodness. So did you have any hesitations about living in Japan when you first came over here?
Maybe being so far away from home, but at that age, I was still in my early 20s. I just wanted to travel, and I wanted to get out and see the world.
Yeah.
So when I first came, I just thought I'd be here for a year or two, and it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, so it was more of an adventure than...
Yeah, it was an adventure.
Yeah, just kind of go with the flow and see how things are.
Almost no hesitations. I just wanted to keep doing what I was doing and fund my traveling.
Right, that sounds good. So what were the challenges that you faced living here in Japan?
Okay. Since I've been here so long, I've had friends, really good friends, and that I've had a good group of friends, and then everybody leaves. I know you've experienced this, and then you make some more good friends, and then everybody leaves. So I think the big challenge is not being alone or being lonely. I feel like I've always been mildly lonely while living in Japan, but still I don't want to leave.
Yeah, I know that's been really strange experience for me too, where every time someone leaves, I always question if I should leave too, but then I know that I actually like living in Japan and that this is the place for me. So the shift I had to make was just trying to be more active and networking, so that just in case someone does leave, I don't have to worry about it. And actually, I just got a call from my friend yesterday saying that she's going to leave Japan, and she wasn't planning to leave for at least another 6 months, so she's going to be leaving within the next 3 weeks. So what would have been something like a very big shock to me and something I would have probably been really sad about, I'm actually okay now because I've set up other networking opportunities, and so I feel like I have other communities that I can rely on in that situation. But I agree that it can definitely get really lonely, especially when you're trying to, you know, meet new people.
And you kind of, once you're here long enough, you become a world citizen where your good friends end up coming back, maybe to see you every 2 years, or when you're in Hong Kong, you see them, or when you're in New York, you see your friend that's there. So you kind of get used to being not at home, but becoming a citizen of the world where your friends are just spread out all over the place. There are definitely disadvantages, but now that I'm in Sapporo, like I'm brand new, starting from scratch. I don't have any friends there, but now I know how proactive I have to be.
Yes.
Like Tokyo has a Facebook group for foreigners in Japan for people to help each other, and there wasn't one in Sapporo, so I created one, and now I have connections to like almost 200 people in Sapporo. When I just arrived there.
What's the organization called?
Sapporo International Network. Sin. It would be a sin
Very
to
memorable.
not join. And I love all the events in Tokyo, and you can meet, really, if you get off your butt and you're not watching Netflix all the time and feeling sorry for yourself, you can meet so many people, especially in Tokyo. But there aren't so many events when you're outside of Tokyo, so that's been really good for me because I have to create them.
Right.
I have to create the lifestyle that I want to live. So yeah, it's all about being proactive. You can have the life you want, but you have to take responsibility in making it.
And make it happen.
Very Tim Ferriss, like
Yes.
life's hashtag lifestyle design.
Absolutely. When did you accept that Japan was your home? So did you have any turning point where you're just like, you know what, I'm going to be here for a while and I'm okay with it?
Probably a couple years ago, I started calling Japan home. And even maybe before, I had a girlfriend who's from Japan, and now that it's become more serious, I realize I'm sticking around. But I think even before, I realized that this place suits me and that I'll most likely be here for a long, long time. I can't imagine moving anywhere else and living there. And even when I go back to the US, I don't feel like I fit in there.
Right.
I feel more like a foreigner when I go back home. I went with a friend to another friend's gig at American Beer Fest last night, and I didn't fit in there. I like beer, but not that much.
I know, I've had the same experience too, but I'm curious to know, like, why do you think you feel more comfortable in Japan than the US? Like, what is it about Japan that's more comfortable? For me, I'm like, is it the fact that it's a city, so it's easy to get around? But then I think, well, there's other cities like New York City, but I don't feel comfortable in New York City, so I'm trying to figure out, like, what is that formula that makes Japan feel so comfortable, at least for me.
I think when you arrive at Narita Airport and I can buy green tea at the airport, and that's not, well, maybe nowadays that could happen in the US, and then you get on the train and it's quiet and calm and you see the rice paddies out the window, it just makes my shoulders drop, and it's like, it's so good to be back.
I know, I feel the same way. That long train ride, I'm just like, I'm here.
And you get on like the express train to Shibuya, and it's so clean, and nobody's speaking in loud voices. And I'm a quieter introvert So it just suits my personality.
I think that's really funny because I feel the same way, but Tokyo is a city, which means technically it's suitable for extroverts because of all the things you can do and since it's a bustling place to be in, but at the same time it's equally as quiet and calm and just convenient. So I feel like it's a really good place for both introverts and extroverts.
And there's pockets of quiet. Like we're here, you can't hear any traffic.
Right.
Except for that motorcycle.
Yeah.
But I've always needed to get out of Tokyo just to unwind.
Right.
But for many years, I would go to the countryside, go to hot springs on the weekend. Because I'm from super small town. I thought Tokyo would be way too big for me. I'd never want to live here. But also going to Sapporo has been so good for just getting some time to myself and silence. Because in Tokyo, you get used to it and it becomes so normal, but you're constantly bombarded with ads. Like you're on the train, you have 3 TV screens on the Yamanote line telling you what to buy, and it can be healthy to get out of Tokyo too, for me.
Yeah. I like heading to the hot springs over in Hakone. For me, that is like the ultimate place to relax.
Yeah, it's the best. Best. The hot springs. Like, how could you live without hot springs?
I know, right?
What do you want to live? It's like going back to a jacuzzi in the U.S. and it's probably 50% pee and bubbles and dirties. Like once you've been in pure hot spring from the mountains, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of advice do you have for people who are thinking about living in Japan or planning to come here?
Because you come here and you realize it's not that different than home. Like there's a Kentucky Fried Chicken right over there, a Taco Bell right over there. You'll be right at home from wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, there's Starbucks everywhere too.
and other advice, in Tokyo, the Facebook group, Tokyo Expat Network has been helpful, and then Find Your Element workshops. I've met so many people through that and found mentors who have been here a long time and are wise. Especially if you're in the city, Facebook events, you can find a different event to be at every single night if you want to. There's so much going on. I use websites like bento.com or Tabelog to find good restaurants, and then I find one good restaurant and ask the regulars, and they tell me other good restaurants that I go, because I'm a foodie, so pretty much my life is going to restaurants with good food.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about how people can keep in touch with you. So how can they find you and get in touch?
To get in touch with me, my website is Eisenhower.com, like eyes and hour like the time. Then you can find me on Instagram or Facebook with the same name, and then in Tokyo, or in Sapporo, the Sapporo International Network is what I'm doing lately. And my new website is not ready yet, but you can find that through Eisenhower.com.
Okay, great, perfect. So I'll include those links below in the description here. Yeah, so thank you so much, Matt.
Oh, that was fun.
I really appreciate it.